Hey, this is Craig, and in the first episode I talked about 6 steps that we can use to help plan and organize ourselves to move towards those plans, those purposes, those dreams that we have. And I mentioned I'll dig a little bit deeper going into accurate thinking. So accurate thinking is an incredibly powerful thing to do, and there are 7 parts to accurate thinking. Number 1 is to making sure that our plans, our purposes, our achievements are written down. If they're not written down, it's just a thought, it's just an opinion. So we need to write them down, get them clear. Why? Because then when we think and we see and we hear and we write, we can actually go through repetition and remember and revise and embed those plans, those purposes, those dreams, those achievements into our memory and into our psyche so that our thoughts can control our emotions, which controls our behaviors, which then controls our results and our outcomes. Number 2 is applied accurate thinking is actually a moral duty, and this is a principle which we need to understand. We've been given the blessed opportunity to actually think rational thoughts, think creative thoughts, be self-determined. Other animals in the world just don't have that. We're blessed in all of creation to be able to define accurate thinking and move towards our goals, and it's actually our moral responsibility to do this. It's our duty to do this, to move forward and to create. Number 3, third principle, there's actually 2 processes we can go through when we want to pursue accurate thinking. Here they are: inductive and deductive reasoning. Now these 2 processes are different, but they end up giving us a great result called accurate thinking. Number 1, inductive thinking, is when we experiment and we draw conclusions, we test strategies and we see what the outcome might be. The second one, deductive thinking, is when we use general logic. So we can see the results from someone else's life. We can see the results from past behavior and past outcomes, and we can draw general conclusions. That's deductive thinking. Now, when we use inductive or deductive and we bring them together, it helps us to identify what's really going to give us our result that we are pursuing. That's how we can get more accurate in our thinking. So, having our plans and purposes and goals written down, making sure that we have our moral responsibility and commitment to pursue it. The third one is to use inductive and or deductive reasoning together. The fourth, it's an important thing to move these 2 steps forward. That is to separate opinion from fact. Everybody has an opinion. Everyone thinks they can tell you what's right and what's wrong. Everyone can think that they can tell you whether you're going to be successful or not, and whether it's a good idea or not, or the timing is right or not. But there's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Comes along every day. And some people just don't get that. And so we really need to separate opinion from fact, because sometimes people are unconscious competence. They're really good at things, but they don't know how to explain the facts, the evidence behind it. And so sometimes people can have amazing, fabulous advice, but they can't explain it. So it's our responsibility to think, is that an opinion, or is it truth that they can't explain? And then when we separate the fact from the opinion, then we can decide, is it important or is it unnecessary? If it's important, we need to take it on board and go a bit deeper. And the next step then is to think, is it important and is it necessary? Because if it's important and unnecessary, we can discard it or put it to a lower priority. If it's important and necessary, we need to move it up to the level of being critical and important and high priority in terms of what we do to move forward. Number 5, don't accept opinions unless they're based on a fact. This goes together with number 4, but here's how we do that. We evaluate the truth of what they're saying based on evidence and history. We seek evidence to make sure we can collaborate with other people to prove it is correct. And thirdly, we think, is it reasonable and is it helpful? If it's reasonable, okay, it has reason behind it, it's been well thought out, and it's helpful, we can actually see that taking the step, even if it's important and necessary, it's actually going to be helpful for us personally in our goals and plans and purposes to move forward. That's number 5. Number 6, we're nearly there. Understanding that our thoughts come from 2 places: physical hereditary and from social hereditary. Now, social comes from what our family has done to raise us, the culture of our family, the culture of the environment, our society, our community, our religion, our faith. That's social hereditary. So we tend to take on board these things, the social hereditary, and it becomes part of us. The other side, though, or another part of that, second part of that, is physical hereditary. These are the things that we learn by doing physically, like motor memory, neuron memory. And so we can learn by doing, we can learn by being in an environment. We need to identify, where have our thoughts came from? Where have they come from? can we harness those thoughts and can we see positive results coming by putting those into practice? So identify where they come from so you can judge their value and their worth by using those other 5 steps I've already talked about, or principles. The final principle is to realize that all of our influences, our interruptions, the antagonists can only become overcome by controlled habits. Controlled habits. So whether it's eating, or whether it is the desire to go and socialize, or whether it's to, shiny object, I've got to buy that. Doesn't matter what that thing is, that influence, that interruption, that antagonism between someone else, it can only become overcome by controlled habits. Building regular responses as part of our personality, that we respond to things rather than react, taking our time to build them to become natural parts of who we are. Give you an example. Every day, I know that when I walk into a work environment, a business environment, home environment, I'm going to walk into there with energy. Yeah? If I come home, it's going to be my wife who's going to get the first kiss and the hello. When I go to work, company, business, social, whatever, I'm going to be greeting not only the people that I'm there to see, people who might be paying me there to be. I'm going to greet the security guard, I'm going to greet the driver, I'm going to greet the cleaner, I'm going to greet the receptionist, I'm going to greet anyone. And I just really don't care or put any value on whether they respond or not. It's actually up to me to build that habit into who I am and my personality. Sometimes people get freaked out, they get surprised that they get a welcome, but you can see the lights start to go on in their eyes. You can see the sunlight come out in their day. You can see the smile start to come on their face. So I want to build that as a controlled habit into who I am, that wherever I go, I control the atmosphere because that's who I am and that's what I do. So I hope that these 7 principles of accurate thinking can help you. It's just over 7 minutes for 7 principles. And I really want to encourage you, my mentor, Brian Dalmaso, who has really helped me with my mindset and thinking, he's created something called the Matrix Mindset Academy. It's less than a cup of coffee a week to work with the #1 coach in the world, Brian Dalmaso. Really encourage you to click the link below, join the Matrix Mindset Academy. I'm in there. We get coaching from Brian every day. It's a fabulous community of like-minded people who want to pursue their purposes, the plans and the dreams that they have. They want to share and encourage each other. We pull each other up and we're also accountable with each other. And there's so much in terms of resource in the Matrix Mindset Academy that we'll never get to the end of it. So I really want to encourage you and engage with our community, engage with the #1 coach in the world, Brian Dalmaso. Click the link below. I'll see you on the inside.